What is going on, Summit Chasers? Audrina has a
Are
pretty
you
funny
kidding
face
me?
right now. Welcome to another episode of A Week in
No,
Review with the Summit
stop.
crew.
Stop. I'm making this unusable. You shithead.
Oh my God, leave
Jesus.
all this in.
All right, ready? What is going
Take
on,
it
Summit
away.
Chasers, and welcome to another episode of The Week in Review with the Summit crew. I'm here with the ladies of the Summit Chasers Network, and we have a great week this week. It's a little bit of a shorter week for us because I know that we just did an episode on Wednesday last week, or Thursday maybe, but that's fine. We're here today. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good.
Beautiful. As usual, we're going to start out with our grow or die moments from the week. I'm excited about mine. I'm kind of excited about mine. I'm actually kind of sad about mine a little bit, but I'm going to let Audrina go first because I'm excited about hers.
I have a feeling I know what yours is, and it's funny if that's the case. But for me, my grow or die is learning to live minimally. I started the process of figuring out what clothes I can take in our tiny trailer, and it's going. It's not going great, but it's going, and I'm starting to recognize how much weight I put into my ability to present a certain way, have the clothes at my disposal, all of that. And Zach is challenging me to realize that it's not that important and it's not that deep. But I'm struggling with that. Quite frankly, I am struggling with it because it is like it's something that I enjoy. I like fashion. I like being able to dress how I want to dress. And it sounds so silly and so trivial, and I get that. But I think learning how to navigate that and still find that balance of where I'm bringing what I need, but I can also continue to express myself the way that I like to express myself is an interesting thing that I'm going through right now.
Audrina, you're about to like blow up your entire identity in so many different ways that I could see why you would want to like hang on to these, comfort signals that really help you feel like you're grounded to the person you were before you went on this venture. So I actually do understand the importance of having some of that, like some of those clothes and the aesthetics and like a reminder of like you can't shed everything, right? Like it just is kind of like, oh my God, you are gonna need like something of a, like a comfort blanket or something, right? And I think some of your clothes are probably like that for you, right?
Probably. And I actually appreciate that because I've just been feeling so like silly about how much I'm struggling to like figure out how to do this and how to navigate it. But I appreciate that. And you're right. Like just in general, people who knew me, gosh, a year and a half, 2 years ago to today, I feel like I'm a completely different person in the best, like truly in the best way possible. I've grown a lot. I've changed a lot. I've developed. I've come into myself. I've found what I'm like truly passionate about and all these things, which are so, so great. But it's also so scary. Like, not scary is the wrong word, but it's an interesting thing to go through when just so many aspects of your life are changing and completely upside down from what they were like 2 years ago, which is wild. So yeah, it's been a
Please
lot.
tell me you're wearing the Bing Tiger sweatshirt though.
I have it. I have my tan one. I have it in tan and gray, and I kept my tan one.
Yeah.
I love that one.
We've recorded that one a lot. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think of you, actually, a lot of
With
times.
Amina
Like,
Bing.
yeah.
I love her.
No, I mean I can attest to the growth aspect. Like when I met Audrina, she was not that this is like necessarily has anything to do with your growth, but it just has a lot to do with the transformation and your willingness to like get outside your comfort zone and to really be shitty at things and then turn into being really, really good at them, or just trying things that you don't necessarily know that you're going to like or not, or have no idea whether you're going to like it or not, but you do it anyways to see if you do like it or not, and then it transforms into something else. But like when we met, like you were vegan, you were terrified of guns, you were terrified of anything really outside your comfort zone. It was like you were you were comfortable. Like you were comfortable. You had so much potential. I think you knew that too. Like you had so much more to give, and it seems like you're just in a box. But whether there's outside circumstances that put you in the box or not, but you're like this. You're like a genie in a bottle. Shout out to Christina Aguilera. But you were. And like since then, there's a picture I kind of want to put up of us out at our good friends, Steve, the Off Grid. He's the guy that owns that Off Grid Solutions. I forget what the name of the company is. His company is now Off Grid Solutions. I think that's the one we shouted out a few weeks ago. But we were out at his ranch in Arizona, and like you're out there target practicing, shooting your cookbooks and like old stuff that you wanted to get rid of, and you were up there just having so much fun, just like express is an odd way, right? But you're expressing yourself, like you were just letting it out. And like and since then, like moving to Arkansas of all places, getting outside, dealing with bugs, dealing with like hiking. Like you didn't even want to hike when we met.
No, I didn't.
You were like scared of hiking, and then we go out on hikes all the time now.
Yeah.
Like every day pretty much we're out with our dogs hiking, and you crush it. So it's crazy. It's just a really cool testament to, I mean, really what we do with a lot of our clients, which is like getting out there and intentionally improving, intentionally growing, and getting out there and intentionally doing things that you don't necessarily know for a fact you're great at, but being willing to be shitty at it, and then finding out who you are, finding out what you're truly passionate, finding out what you could be good at. So it's, give you a little shout out. Chrissy has allergies, apparently.
Oh my God, please cut out all of my sneezing frames, okay? If you could, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
I don't know what is happening. It's like 8 o'clock allergies or something, It's just crazy.
He's allergic to the sunset.
Time of day.
All right, Chrissy, what is your grow or die moment? If you can not sneeze through it.
Through sneezing, yeah. So a couple years ago during COVID, I was like, all right, for Easter, I'm going to go real deep tracks and make all my grandmother's like recipes for Italian Easter, like very old school Italian Easter. And so every Easter I've started making pasta. And so this year I actually feel like I had it down to a science. So every year it ends up kind of being like really messy. It really is not hard to make pasta, but it's hard to get the right consistency and the right shape and stuff. It's not like very complicated with the amount of ingredients. It's like 4 or 5 ingredients. But I made cavatelli, and this year I like whipped through it in 2 hours. I like formed the dough, made the cavatelli, brought it to our cousins. Everyone loved it. And it was the perfect consistency and the perfect shapes. And I was just like, oh my God, I nailed it. It took me like 4 years. This is like the 4th Easter. But I finally did it. And Kevin was like, wow, that was so good. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like I was just like, if I can't figure out how to crack this code, then I failed in my life. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like this is like a good rite of passage. And so that was like my grow or die moment. But it's taken a bunch of cycles, and I finally got there. So that was my grow or die moment this week.
Never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up. Well, I mean, to turn that into like a philosophical conversation, it's cool that like you now have proof. I mean, you have proof beforehand. You have tons of proof that you can figure things out. But that's just another kind of, check on the board of your proof of concept that you can figure things out. So you can come up to like any other problem really, and you have proof that you can figure out problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to like the proof in your past that you can figure things out. But I mean, I'm saying that because a lot of people don't give those types of experiences credit to like their future success. Like everyone who can ride a bike. Audrina can't ride a bike. That's one thing that I got to get you doing. I didn't mean to call you out there. Reminded me. But most people can ride a bike, and they started out not knowing how to ride a bike. They had to figure it out. Like they have proof now that they can learn things. They have proof that they can figure things out. So when you're an adult now and you have a problem in front of you, you're like, I can't do that. You have years of proof that you know how to figure out problems successfully. So there's no reason why you can't figure this out.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that I think you're exactly right. And that's like the pattern recognition, or just like the, like science where you have to experiment and, it's just like, just science, general stuff.
Yeah, I know science.
But it's like, it's so underrated in these cases, like how do people it's just like that process of like going back and trying again, and just not giving up on getting through to the other side. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, the concept's the same. You try to ride your bike, you fall over. You're like, okay, this time I'm going to hold the bike like this, and I'm going to try to lean a little bit more to the left. And then you fall over. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it differently this time. And it's just like your own little experimental loop. And it's the same thing with like ads. It's just there's different buttons you press, and it's a little bit more complicated, but it's still the premise is the same. Like you just create these little experiments. You take the feedback, you take the data from it, you make the adjustment, and you get better the next time. But first, you got to be willing to be shitty at it.
Yeah, and I work with a lot of product managers, and it's the concept of A/B testing, right? Like run multiple tests, but they're going to look different each time, and then what worked, right? And so, it's just like the concept of design thinking, and like everything's a product. It's just like it shows when life imitates art.
Exactly.
Zach,
I like that.
Zach, I'm disappointed in you. I'm
For blowing up your spot about bike.
No, I don't care about that. You missed literally a golden opportunity to make one of your dad jokes, and I'm really disappointed.
Oh my God.
Oh no. What was it?
You said the proof is in the past. You could have been like, the proof is in the pasta.
Oh my God. Go back, rewind.
No, I see. This is going to be my grow or die moment for next week. Never miss an opportunity for a dad joke.
Story next week.
Yeah.
There you go.
The fact that you picked up on that, though, is a testament to so many things.
Yeah.
Literally, I was chomping at the bits to say it, but I couldn't get it in there.
I know. I'm so glad you brought it up, though.
Yeah.
I might change my grow or die moment now. Oh well, do better. Is that you just say do better?
I did.
That's fair. That's fair.
Be better or do better? Or
do better.
Yes.
Do better.
Oh my God.
All right. My grow or die moment. No, mine is it's not quite as lighthearted as some of y'all's. So yesterday yesterday was my birthday.
Hold on. Can I pause? Because I'm sorry. Can I jump in? I said that I thought I knew what it was and it was funny, but I don't. I didn't. I'm just going to say that right now. I thought you were going to talk about your TV going, but I have a feeling I know where you're going. So
I know, and I knew,
not funny.
And I knew I knew what you thought I meant, and I was going to preface it. So she didn't know what I meant. It was good. Something else. So yesterday was my birthday yesterday, and
happy birthday!
Thank you. And I wanted to go see. I'm still a kid, and I wanted to go see Kong X Godzilla.
Yeah.
And we saw it, and it was great. It was exactly what I needed it to be. But on our way there, for some reason that we wanted, like I really wanted, the movie was at 5. It took an hour to get to the theater, and I really wanted to leave at 3, so I wanted to get there really early. So we left at like 3:01, and as we were turning onto the overpass, there was a older man in a truck that turned left in the wrong direction onto the freeway. And so we were like, that's crazy. Like, this is nuts. And we were kind of laughing about it a little bit. Like, like, oh, he must be on drugs, or he must be whatever, this, that, or the next thing. And then he didn't stop. He just kept going up onto the freeway. So then I kind of sped up, got on the right side of the freeway to kind of catch up to him. And again, we were kind of making jokes about it. And I wanted to speed up to see if we could kind of flag him down or something. And before we could get there, right when we saw the truck again, he hit somebody head on the freeway. So and there was like we could hear it through the Jeep. And Jeeps are loud. If you're ever in a Jeep on a freeway, they're loud. It was crazy. And in one of the vehicles that he hit, it was been paint or glue all over the place. Like I had glue all over my shirt and everything.
Cement. He had like liquid cement as well.
Yeah, liquid cement or whatever. I can't remember what. I don't remember what it was. It stunk though. But anyways, and so we pulled over right away, ran across the freeway, and the man who was going the wrong direction on the freeway, I ran up to see if he was okay, and he was gone already before we got there. And he was like an 84-year-old man, and he was talking coherent, but he was crunched from like the chest down, like he was gone. But the lesson that I I'm getting to the point of what I learned here. The other guy was okay. He was beat up a little bit, but he ended up being okay. Was before that, like, we didn't really take into consideration, like, okay, there might be something wrong with him. Like, we're kind of like, oh, crazy people in Arkansas. Like we have a rule, we have a law that's like everyone has a different map. Like, we don't know, like, he could have been in distress, because afterwards we were talking about it when we were on our way to see the movie afterwards, and we're like, man, he could have been like struggling with something. He could have, his wife could have passed away or something like that. He was, took a couple extra Xanax and just wanted it to be over, or whatever it was. But we didn't think of that. Like, our first reaction was to kind of be like, idiot. Right. So it's kind of my grow or die moment was to not make those quick judgments, to, like, we all have biases, right? Like, and there's one really powerful one. It's called, like, your availability bias. So it's like the first thing that pops to your brain outweighs all the other cognitive possibilities. And the first one that came to our head was like these crazy people in Arkansas, right? But it's just to, like, fight against a lot of those biases that we have. Because, again, like, one of our big things, like, even in our workshop, was like to intentionally take responsibility, right? And no, it wasn't our fault that he turned left in the wrong way into the freeway. It wasn't our fault that he hit somebody head on. But we could not make such quick assumptions, right, about that kind of stuff. Like, we could show a little bit more empathy, and then maybe if a situation similar to that happens in the future, because we don't have those quick assumptions, maybe there's something that we could have done about it. In this situation, physically, there's nothing we could have done about it. But in the future, you never know. Like, there could be a situation where we could have done something about it. But if we let those availability biases, overrule the right decision, we're just cutting ourselves off from being just better people. Right. So that was a big grow or die moment. But yeah.
I'm so sorry you guys had to see that. That's crazy.
Well, like I said, luckily the other guy was okay. Like,
Yeah.
I stayed and I talked to him for, just made sure that he was coherent until there wasn't like the fire, because again, this is like small. This is outside of Hot Springs, Arkansas. Like, there wasn't like a paramedic
It takes time
around
for
the
them to show
corner,
up.
right? It took a while, so it was just a lot of like firefighters that only work part time that would just show up in their trucks and, like, calling it. So it took a while for anybody to even get there. Luckily, there was a state trooper that was right next to the guy,
When it happened.
so we were able to get it called in pretty quickly. But it was wild. But yeah, it was definitely a learning lesson.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think you sharing that is incredibly vulnerable, because it wouldn't be someone's first thought to admit that we were, like, making jokes and these quick assumptions. But truly, if we don't allow ourselves to just kind of, like, own up in those moments and learn from it and learn about how that was the complete wrong approach to take, is not as powerful. You're just killing me right now. I think it's powerful, basically, that you shared that, and that you're willing to own up and say, like, hey, yeah, we screwed up. Like, we were joking, we were laughing, we were just unfamiliar with the situation, but making too quick of judgments. And for both of us, I don't think I'll ever do that again. I think I'll approach different situations much more empathetic, much more open-minded, and, like you said, like, not just making these snap judgments on people or situations based on those availability biases, because it was completely unexpected, and I don't know, it just shows that we can't be quick to judge. Like, he was an old man, he could have had, like, dementia or anything, right? And that could have been why he didn't realize what was going on and then panicked. You just don't know the situation that people are dealing with. And especially in today's age, where we all see the highlight reels, we've talked about it so many times, but you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So it's just a reminder overall, in general, to be kinder, to be more aware, and less judgmental about people and maybe what they do online, how they show up online, and know that you're only seeing such a small part of something that they choose, and words matter, and kindness is so important, and you don't know what that could do for somebody on the other end. So yeah.
Well, I think there's a difference between, I mean, I agree with everything that you said. I also think your brain creates these like coping mechanisms where you're like, well, your first instincts can't always be like, this is going to be a tragedy, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like too overwhelming if your brain aren't like would have gone to this like place of this person's having a medical emergency and this is going to go down and this is how this is going to end, right? You know, and so, and I think also um when people are feeling like, you know, it's like when you're like, oh my God, I'm watching this train wreck go down, and why isn't this person understanding how serious of a situation they're in, you know? And like, I think there's part of the brain that's like, I don't want to say denial because I don't think you guys were in denial, but you're just like, this can't possibly
Just
go
shocked.
as bad as it could, right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because you're in shock and you're like, there's no way. Like, this is gonna be okay. And this is just like a crazy thing that we're gonna be like, I can't believe we saw someone going the wrong way. You know what I mean? Because luckily not everything ends so terribly, you know, but I do think it's like your brain almost creates this like protection for you, you know what I mean, in those moments. And I think that's also, you see a lot of people like maybe not understand the gravity of like the challenges that they're around. You know, maybe it's not full blown denial, but it's also kind of like, you know, oh, well, there's got to be, oh, wait, okay, this is almost like going back to the point around like now you can figure out every problem. Do you know what I mean? It's like the same thing that you were just talking about, like the pasta story of like, okay, wow, like, you know, when you're confronted with a problem, like you figured out your way through so many problems before. But sometimes it's like you also have to acknowledge to yourself to say, hey, this is when we're going to need help because this is a problem that I actually am not capable of solving. Like, it's almost like too big for one person to solve on their own, you know, and it's just yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's almost like the other end of the spectrum, right? Where you start to build that pattern recognition, and then it almost creates this like false sense of security that you're like, okay, I know how this usually goes down, and then it's like worse than you expected, and you just have to yeah, it's like kind of like what's the gut instinct or something that would help you understand that this is not the normal formula that you're working with here, you know?
Yeah, no, it was it's one of those things, like I said, like we have so much of those. I mean, like you said it, like our brains protect us. Our brains have so many biases and shortcuts that it uses based on, you know, past experience, things that we've seen. Like when we've said this before with certain biases, right? Like if I was to say, and I kind of tricked Audrina a little bit, one day, I was just kind of testing out a theory. But or again, part of the availability bias is just what is easier for our brains to grab onto, and it's just like we've seen movies like the Jackasses, and you know, you see bloopers on YouTube and that kind of stuff. So immediately we're thinking, oh, it was just, you know, some old guy going the wrong way on the highway, is probably drunk or something like that. It ends up fine, right? Or like if we think of like Shark Week, like if we think, or shark attacks, and we, you know, like what's the chances of you getting attacked by a shark in the ocean? Our brains immediately go to like Jaws or like the Meg or Shark Week, and it's probably like, oh, it could happen, right? When really it's like 1 in a million or something. It's just not very often. But in our head, that bias, it overweighs what's more available to it. So in our head, right there, we're thinking, oh, this is funny, right? Or this is odd, like crazy again, because we're always talking like the crazy people from Arkansas here, and it was just, that's where our brains went to. But and then, like I said, again, if that was a different situation and we fight that bias even a little bit, and we go, okay, there's something that we could probably do about it, or at least somebody to call or something, right? It's just it lessens, even though most of the time somebody would have stopped him, or he would have turned around and realized that most of the time that probably when somebody's going the wrong way in a freeway, that happens.
Yeah.
But it takes the one time for somebody to lose a grandpa. So it's, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, that was a tough learning lesson. And then Audrina, to lighten the mood a little bit, yeah, I was I was toying between being vulnerable and expressing that and sharing that, we're talking about the fact that I sold my 70-inch TV.
70
and
inches.
I know. I sold it.
It was
And the
great.
wall mount. And
You sold it for so cheap too.
What was
well, I
bigger,
had it for
the mirror or the TV?
the
The
mirror.
TV. I mean, I'm sorry, the mirror. My bad. The
Shit,
mirror
I
was
like,
way bigger.
what kind of geometry are
My
you
mirror
into?
was 7 feet tall.
7 feet tall.
Yeah,
And
it's so
it weighed
big.
hundreds of pounds.
It was over
Mhm.
200 pounds. That thing weighed over 200 pounds. So yeah, the mirror was much
Yeah.
bigger and much more expensive.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, no, we got. But this also, I already I went to bed earlier last night. Like I already felt.
'Cause you
Like, I
didn't-
woke up and the first thing I did was start reading.
Yeah.
Like it was just so.
Yeah.
It's actually nice to not have a TV, and I'm actually very excited. Now I'm like kind of excited about that part of being in the trailer full time, of not
How much
having
more
as
will get
many
done.
distractions. Yeah, like how much more work we're going to get done, how much more, reading and studying and all this kind of stuff,
We
writing.
might even cancel Netflix. It's possible.
Well, maybe not Netflix. I think we'll probably keep Netflix
said,
because the
well-
kids. No, for the
Well,
kids.
I can't cancel Hulu though because all my shows are on Hulu. So
Yes, but we can cancel like Max
we can
and
keep Hulu Disney. We can keep
Peacock.
Hulu and Disney. Hulu and Disney and cancel Netflix.
We're really not canceling anything.
No.
No, we can.
I tried.
We'll probably,
You should grow her
probably
time.
keep it.
Window,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, we're actually taking it back. No, we're not. We're actually going to get a 70-inch TV and put it on the outside of the trailer.
We
no.
we might get a projector and a screen though at some
That'd be
point.
cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Just when we have the kids and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's not. I'm starting to. I mean, like Audrina, she's kind of like found herself in the process over the last few years, sort of thing. I feel like this is going to happen to me again when we get out there in the woods, and I get like the minimalist kind of mindset back, and then I get to focus a lot more because I get distracted so much. When I have like, I can just be not tunnel vision, but I have less things to distract me, and I can be really hyper focused. I'm excited. So I'm looking forward to that. Beautiful. Anyways, 26 minutes in, and we're getting to our small business highlight. Who are we going to highlight, Audrina? I just froze.
Say it again.
Who are we gonna highlight?
That's a Chrissy question.
I think we should highlight the coffee house.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever come
I don't
to
know
Hot
the owner's
Springs,
name though. Go ahead.
She's sweet as pie. If you ever come to Hot Springs, it is called the Coffee House of Hot Springs, and it is so damn cute. And she just had it remodeled. They make the best. They have like the famous iced latte out here, and the best cinnamon buns we have ever had. And Zach is a cinnamon bun connoisseur. It's his favorite dessert. So any chance he
Really?
tries it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
No
haven't even
problem.
talked about. Have you mentioned cinnamon buns on any of your openings yet?
No, have you?
I've been trying to keep it kind of healthy. I'm slowly getting not healthy about it, but yeah. Oh, I think her name's Dina. Yeah, I think her
Dina.
name's Dina.
So yeah, she's great, and she just remodeled her little coffee shop, and it's basically like a hut in the middle of a parking lot. And truly, it's the best iced coffee we've ever had, and cinnamon buns. And she just redecorated the outside, and she's like getting new colors, new logo, and all that. And her expansion is she's putting seating outside now. So obviously, like it's literally a hut, so nobody can go inside. You either walk up to the window or you drive up to the window to order. And then she's got seating that she's putting up out front so that people can hang out for a little bit. So it's really, really cute. She's so sweet. She always remembers our order, always gives the dogs pup cups, but just really like that small town, fantastic coffee shop.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, they're that's their only location, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. In Hot Springs, there's a lot of like those little small shed almost
Coffee
style
hut, yeah.
coffee huts.
Mhm.
But hers is by far the best, for
Yeah.
sure.
There's barista
She's so
babes
sweet.
and then mug shots too. And mug shots
Shots
is
is
a
the other
close second, but hers is the best.
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
coffee house. Yeah, they're awesome. All right. Now, last week we went through law number 6 in the Summit Laws of Leadership. Today we're going to talk a little bit about law number 7. Law number 7 is a leader shows maturity in their relationship with the window and the mirror. This one's kind of deep, and I think there's more positive. There's more positive more positives to it than probably initially you might think. Like I know a lot of people might know the concept, but I think it's a lot more important. It goes a lot deeper than what it initially on the surface might read. But Chrissy, let's bring it to you. What does that mean to you? Law number 7: a leader shows maturity in their relationship with the window and the mirror.
Okay. So what this means to me is that when if you miss a goal or your team isn't executing correctly or there is something wrong with the board presentation or something along the lines where an objective was missed in some way, right? The feedback is you didn't hit the bullseye on this project. You have to take a look at yourself in the mirror and say, why did my team miss the bullseye on this ask, right? Like I either went out, I told them what the goal was, I left them to do their work, and when I came back, it wasn't achieved, or I let them walk into this meeting and they weren't successfully set up for whatever it was, right? Well, at the end of the day, it's on me, right? As the leader of the team or the leader of the organization. And so for me, that's really like, did you not set them up the right way? Did you not communicate exactly what you were looking for? Did you not put the right people on the team to execute the job, right? And so at the end of the day, the buck stops with you as the leader, which means you resourced, you gave the business strategy, and you like scoped the project for them, and if they missed it, something was on me for not putting the right either investment or resources or scope of work in front of that group. Now, alternatively, the team gets together, I give them the scope of work, I put the team together, I say, here's what the deliverable is. They crush. That is not my win. That's all of our win, right? The team wins. And so in that case, I want to look at out the window and say, wow, look at everything that just got completed. The team is doing an incredible job. Like this team is crushing. Like that's really where I want to, I mean, this is like a bad image, but like I'm sitting in my office right now. I have a window to my street, right? If I see everything outside working and looking amazing and it's a beautiful day out, it's not because I set the weather, right? You know what I mean? But like, it's just kind of like you can appreciate it from your seat and look out and like see a view of a highly functioning, high engaged team. And that's really what you want to also show them, the window of opportunity that's in front of your team, to use that for future motivation going forward so that you can continue to engage and drive them to the next challenge and really keep them empowered.
Beautifully said. But why is all that so important, Audrina?
Oh, the news anchor. Yeah, no, Chrissy, you actually crushed that explanation. I think that sums it up so well. I think why it's so important is that it builds your team's morale. Firstly, they know that you've got their back. You're not just passing the blame if something goes wrong. You're not pointing to a team member and saying, well, they screwed up or they didn't understand. You are going to build so much trust, so much loyalty, and so much good team morale around that if you practice that as a leader or as a business owner. Your team will truly know that you have their back and have their best intention at heart, which will in turn just create that loyalty amongst that team. And just you're also going to create a team that people want to be a part of, or a company that people want to be a part of. When they see an owner show up or a leader show up in that way, that's very, very easy for employees to buy into and people to buy into and want to grow with. So that is why it is paramount, really, to the success, I think, of an owner and a leader.
Yeah, big time.
I want to add one more thing. It's not that with the mirror maturity, it's not that you don't have to give your team feedback or direction. Like, I think the retrospective exercise is always really useful, especially when the team gets together. They have a challenge in front of them, they miss the goal, or like, even if they hit the goal, it's kind of like, okay, how did that go for us? Like, could we do it better next time? Or why were we successful? I think that like constant review is really important, because you really get to understand, okay, what was it that either, I guess actually the retrospective is important whether you crush the goal or you miss the goal. Because if you crush it, you're like, okay, what worked for us? Let's do more of that, right? And like, let's just really make sure we know, kind of back to the pattern recognition, and like, how did we solve this problem that actually was successful? And so, you want to make sure that people are actually taking the time to reflect on what work they accomplished and how they did that work. So they start to build those like mental models in their head over time. And now, kind of going back to like building the clock, right? They're starting to build more and more capabilities of like understanding different problems. So they feel more and more confident to go out and say, okay, I have this experience now I can keep in my toolbox, because I know that I was able to actually solve the problem with this team. It really allows people to build trust in the team, together, to go out and solve bigger, more unknown problems, right? And on the opposite side is like, if the team fails, you really want to make sure that you're learning something from that. So, did I not have the right resources? Was it a process that was broken? Were we not solving the right problem? And so I think that's really, did I not communicate as the leader, right? Like, was something unclear? So that retrospective is really good about like building your own like mental models of, okay, everyone came to this project with a different map. And how do I make sure that I'm communicating the scope of work accurately? Because everyone came, and if you say, describe a coffee shed, like, you guys have a perspective because you've experienced, what a hot springs coffee shed looks like. If you talk to me about a coffee shed, I'm thinking about a coffee cart on the side of the city,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The sidewalk, which I did get a coffee today from a coffee cart. And like, I think that's, we're both not wrong, but our mental models, our map to that exercise is different. Like, and that's something as a leader, really helping to make sure, okay, even though we all got to this problem with different maps, do we all understand the scope of what it is that we're working on as our, shared baseline? And so I think that's really important, is like, don't take the blame for the team, but really facilitate the learning coming out of that exercise to make sure that everyone understands what worked or what was missed.
Yep. I love that.
I don't got much to add. That was perfectly
Mic
done
drop.
from both of you. That was well, and it's just, if you don't point in the mirror, like, you're keeping your kind of like, especially as a leader, if you're the business owner, you're keeping your head in the mud. You're keeping your head on the ground when you should be able to look, like you said, maybe you didn't give them the right initiative. Maybe it was the wrong strategy. Maybe they failed because you didn't forecast correctly. Maybe you didn't identify a strength or identify a weakness that you could leverage from a competitor properly. And therefore, that's what failed. But if you keep pointing out the mirror when things go wrong, you're just keeping yourself, it is their fault. Like, you're just keeping yourself head down in the whirlwind of the day-to-day sort of thing. It's just not, it doesn't allow you to expand. It doesn't allow you to improve whatsoever. And your team, like you said, it doesn't allow your team to improve because you're not identifying weaknesses, and you're identifying weaknesses in them, but you're not identifying those weaknesses that you could have caused and that you can then overcome and develop in the future and prevent in the future. So, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Anybody else have anything to add to that? No? Amazing. Let's keep it at that. I like these shorter ones.
Why did that sound like a clap? Harley shaking? Literally
Harley
sounded
was
like somebody
shaking.
clapping. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a.
What was your dog?
Yeah, that was Harley.
Yeah, that was Harley's ears.
I thought that was your applause button.
No.
No. That was,
Oh,
I forgot we had those
Charles.
buttons though. No, that was, we have a staffy, and for those of you that don't know, we have a staffy. She's our old girl. She's 11, I think. No, she is 11.
You keep changing her age every time we talk about this.
10 or 11. Something like that.
Last
I
time
don't
it
know.
was 9, and I get that the years progress in order, but it keeps changing.
9, 10, or 11. How old are you? But when she shakes her head, her ears sound like either a
Yeah.
helicopter or apparently clapping hands. So good job, girl.
That's so funny.
She's rolling around on the couch right now. But
Bring her over.
what?
Bring her
Bring Harley.
over.
Okay, I'll go get
Yeah,
Harley.
get Harley. She's so cute.
You're part of the show now, baby girl.
She's so cute. Oh God, I've got dogs shaking the desk. I've got 3 in here. He has 1 out there.
You have 3 are in
I
with
have
you.
the 3 of them. Yeah. He's a Harrows.
There's my baby. I've had her for how long have I had you for? 10 years. About 10 years. Something like
She's
that.
so
Oh,
sweet.
somebody's at the door. That was good timing.
Yeah.
But this is she was my she was our customer loyalty manager for a
Oh
long
yeah.
time. Well, because when I owned the gyms, because I owned a couple gyms in Canada, she was at all of them, so she would help warm people up. She would greet. She was the greeter. She was the greeter because in Canada it was cold, so during the wintertime, it would get to be like minus 30 degrees Celsius, and she's short haired, so we'd have to put a winter jacket on her. And I got her like a pink winter jacket with a hood on it. So I'd let her in the back, and then she'd go run up to the front door, and her little pink jacket or hood like flopping. Everyone gets so excited. So she was our client retention manager, customer success manager, something. I don't know what she was, but she was the reason. She was the reason some of those gyms. Look, I did my market research. I'm like, people that work out in those types of gyms love dogs. So I was like, and then I just fell in love with her. So no, I'm just kidding. We rescued her because I wanted to, not because of a business decision. But anyways, thank you everybody who stayed this long and listened to this ridiculous rant now. We're very excited for all the stuff that we have coming out. We just filmed, and we're going to have our first episode, I guess, of our adventures and shenanigans coming out the end of this week. And that'll kind of cover some of we went to Vegas. We went to, we talked about it before, the worst acronym for a convention ever, IBS, and how much fun that was. Some of the interviews that we did, some of the people that we met, and then some of the kind of more fun stuff that we did in Vegas. But we're very excited for all that to come out. Anybody else have any announcements?
None?
No, sir.
Beautiful. All right, everybody. Until next time, keep chasing your next summit.